Let's get one truth on the table right now. The harder you hunt for approval, the quicker you sign away sovereignty over your own thoughts. Chase applause long enough and you lines find yourself miles from the person you were built to be. That isn't my bright idea. It echoes a thinker who saw beneath the surface glitter of society and wrote about it without blinking. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli. Neither saint nor cynic, he was a cold-eyed observer of power who dared to voice what the crowd punishes you for whispering. The herd does not crave your freedom. It craves your obedience. It wants you smiling, nodding, blending into its gray comfort. Machiavelli spotted a grim equation. The friendlier you force yourself to be, the more you dilute the sharp edge of your own mind to match whatever room you enter. Genuine thought isolates. It burns through pretense, strips you bare, and most people would rather be accepted in costume than exiled in truth. Machiavelli never wrote for those people. He wrote for the lone skull determined to steer itself. If you are still here, maybe that skull is waking inside you. Let's quit lying to ourselves. Every social encounter has a hidden fee. You grin when your gut twists. You nod when you want to object. Each little act trades a droplet of clarity for a crumb of comfort. Then you wonder why parties exhaust you, why a loud room feels lonelier than silence, why your inner voice whispers like it is losing signal. You have been shouting to please strangers and whispering when it is time to defend yourself. You think you are evolving, but you are only shrinking, sanding down every unusual edge until you fit so perfectly you disappear. The world applauds that vanishing act because a quiet, pliable mind is easy to steer. Machiavelli warned us. In politics and in life, the shadow of virtue often buys more influence than the real thing. Live for appearance long enough and you forget how to live with depth. Once you turn yourself into easy candy, you stop being nourishment. Each forced laugh, each regretted handshake, each silence you swallow to protect your image stacks up. Brick by brick, you raise a prison that looks like popularity from outside yet smells like rot inside. Tragedy is you call it success because smiling faces surround you, but those smiles are aimed at a mask. Stay in the costume long enough and you start believing the costume is you. That is the moment dullness sneaks in, not because you lack brains, but because you have outsourced judgment to the mob. The mob does not prize wisdom, it prizes comfort, consensus, predictability. You become the funny one, the agreeable one, never the one who reminds them of the pieces they surrendered. If you try, they turn on you, not from your wrongness, but from your inconvenient rightness. Your presence becomes a mirror they cannot bear. So, you laugh on cue, your thoughts dull by degrees, the fire in your gut cools into courtesy. Questions become scripted, dreams shrink into marketable slogans. Worst of all, you do not resist. Stupidity performs its master stroke. It convinces you conformity is clever. It whispers, you are doing great. Everyone likes you. That hush drowns the roar of your authentic self, the self that once demanded rebellion at any cost. Now you just want belonging. The price is your edge, your soul, your silence. Machiavelli once said people are driven by love and fear. But in our era a third engine hums louder than both validation. We barter ourselves for bright icons on a screen, betray our convictions for a digital nod, water down our thoughts for a cramped seat at some imaginary table. We echo opinions that are not ours just to avoid standing in the silence of originality, then shuffle home wondering why our inner landscape feels like static. You tell yourself it is burnout or anxiety, and perhaps it is. Yet beneath the symptoms lingers a simpler diagnosis. You have inhaled too much groupthink and your mind is gasping for oxygen. This is not an argument for exile on a mountain. It is a demand to recover the capacity to think without an audience, to act without rehearsal, to simply be without panhandling for applause. Machiavelli never pleaded for readers' sympathy. He wrote as if whoever stumbled on his pages already possessed a spine. If they did not, he moved on. That is the flint missing in today's eager hearts. They want to be deciphered, adored, followed. Real intelligence never begs to be received. It radiates, polarizes, refuses permission. exists regardless of who flinches or who applauds. The herd, allergic to that kind of self-respect, will pin ugly labels on you. Arrogant, difficult, cold, detached. What they really mean is, you remind me of the liberty I surrendered. Your clarity becomes their torment. When that happens, an ancient fork appears in the road. Will you sand yourself down again so they feel smooth? Or will you stand there raw, burning, unapologetic and let the room adjust? Most will not choose the blaze. That is why the average man is so easy to amuse, to predict, to guide. He has trained himself not to think too hard, not to speak too plainly, not to live too separately. In that caution, stupidity finds a loyal throne, wearing the disguise of charm, sociability, everybody liking you. So here is the brute fact you have dodged for years. Every yes you utter for comfort, every laugh you fake to blend in, every opinion you parrot rather than shape, these are tiny bids at an auction where the prize is your own clarity. The bids accumulate until you do not even know you are selling. You wake one morning missing the sharp edge you were born with and cannot remember where you pawned it. Dare instead to be misread, to be disliked, even exiled, not because you failed, but because you refused. That refusal is the birthplace of Machiavellian lucidity. It is not about ruling over others. It is about refusing to be ruled by the unseen strings of need. It is not about collecting applause. It is about walking away from ovations without remorse. Solitude, when chosen, is not a void. It is the forge where a mind is tempered into steel. If you are still here, sentence after sentence, then perhaps the forge is already heating around you. Forge ahead and the world will test you. Invitations you once longed for will reappear. Sweetened with nostalgia, we miss the old you. They hope to coax you back into the softer silhouette they could predict. But that version is already buried, without ceremony, because rebirth never comes with applause. Each time you are offered visibility in exchange for authenticity or popularity for peace, let memory answer for you. Remember the roar of that crowded prison, the cheap sugar of constant approval, the dull ache of acting smart while thinking shallow. Memory is your compass now. It reminds you that every forced grin is flavor lost, every echoed thought is an edge blunted, every kneel for applause is altitude surrendered. Rise instead, not for spectacle or revenge, but because rise is the only direction left once you have burned the masks. Most people polish with age. Few deepen. They gather polish like armor, yet remain hollow. You chose a harsher path, and in choosing it, you escaped the loop, the endless carousel of proving, pleasing, performing. You stepped off. Freedom, once tasted, cannot be untasted. Small talk will sting. The phrase "I'm fine" will taste like ash, and crowds will never again make you forget your own scent. You now carry clarity like invisible plate armor. Silent, unbreakable. Let them call you aloof, arrogant, cold, wear their labels like a crown, for arrogance is often just boundary. Aloofness is discernment, coldness is clarity, too sharp to hold bare-handed. They will gossip, they will drift, and that is fine. You are not here to maintain their illusions. You are here to incinerate your own. Ask yourself, who benefits from this performance, and who bleeds? The answer is almost always you. So cease. Refuse the poison of easy belonging. One day you might wake with titles and trophies, yet feel estranged inside your own skull. Better to walk now, before the rot sets in. Real discipline is lonesome. It is declining drama that used to thrill you, turning down invitations that once inflated you, saying no until you forget how fake enthusiasm feels. Yet inside that void blooms a fierce serenity. You curate people instead of collecting them. You embody excellence instead of chasing relevance. Mystery returns to your presence. Silence becomes strategy. Absence gains gravity. You are no longer a part that fits the play. You are the author revising the entire script. Guard that sovereignty. Let no soft hand fondle your thoughts. No sweet voice tilt your compass. No cozy lie lure you back onto the stage. You have peeked behind the curtain and counted the cost of sociability. Conviction, not cruelty, keeps you distant. Ascension, not detachment, makes you singular. You are no longer one of many, you are one of one.